Hi, Jeff Brown here. I'm an angel investor, former high-tech executive, and investment analyst. And over the past decade, I've given everyday folks the chance to see massive returns from all different kinds of breakthroughs. But today, I'm revealing what I believe is the best and simplest way to grow your wealth in today's market. And I call it the AI Retirement Playbook. And it's a dream come true if you're at all thinking about retirement. You don't need to be an AI expert. You don't need to have any experience with an AI like ChatGPT. And you certainly don't need to be spending countless hours trading the markets. Just follow this two-part playbook, and it could help make all the money that you need for a healthy retirement. Now, I know that probably sounds too good to be true. And if you're new to me and my work, you're probably thinking this guy might be crazy. And honestly, some of the financial establishment have thought that I'm crazy with my bold predictions. They would never tell you to invest the way that I do. They're busy teaching the 60-40 method or some other outdated model that delivers 5 to 7% annual returns. Now, at that rate, it would take you 32 years to grow your wealth 1,000%, more than 3 decades. Now, maybe that works if you're 20 years old, but if you're already well into your career, like I am, that's not going to cut it. My playbook is designed to help get your retirement on the fast track, which is why I've used it over and over again. The dot-com boom, the Bitcoin boom, the cloud services boom, the smartphone boom, and now I'm using it again with this AI boom. As an angel investor, I've already seen AI returns as large as 6.7 times, 10.4 times, 11.5 times, 15.6 times, 24 times, 54 times, and more. And I'm just getting started. In the coming weeks, I plan to make many more investments in this space. Investing in artificial intelligence is my number one focus right now. But let me be clear, you do not have to be an angel investor like me to follow this blueprint. I've been sharing it with hundreds of thousands of everyday folks, and they've had the chance to make double their money, triple their money, and much more from my top recommendations. Now, obviously, I can't guarantee you'll have the same experience, but these are actual returns that people who are probably a lot like you have had the chance to make. My secret? It's my two-part playbook. You see, most people think the biggest gains from AI are behind us. After all, at this point, everybody knows about AI. And NVIDIA, the most popular play, has gone from being a little-known chip maker to one of the most valuable companies in the world. Is there any money left to be made? Yes, that was just the first wave. We're on the cusp of the second wave, and history says it could deliver some of the biggest gains yet. Again, I know that's not what we're hearing from the mainstream. They're all wondering if the AI bubble is about to pop. But just remember, these are the same people who've predicted Bitcoin's death over 400 times. They said the internet would never take hold and that the iPhone would never go mainstream. Yet, each time, we saw the same two-wave pattern, and each time, the second wave was the biggest of all. In other words, if you missed out on the first wave of gains, please don't worry. As long as you act quickly, you do have a second chance. Elon Musk, Sam Altman, all the big names, Microsoft, Facebook, Google, they're all betting the farm on an even bigger AI wave. And these are some of the smartest, savviest investors on the planet. Sam Altman alone is planning to invest trillions of dollars, yes, trillions, in AI. They know something big is coming. Something that's set to take this technology from being a nice to have to the most important breakthrough of our lifetimes. I'm talking about disrupting the $4 trillion automotive industry, the $8.5 trillion healthcare industry, the $35 trillion manufacturing industry, and many, many more. In other words, there's still huge money up for grabs. And if we sit on the sidelines, we're going to miss the mania, the real mania. And I would hate for that to happen. Because once this second wave gets underway, there's no going back. It could be years before we see another opportunity like this. So, how does my playbook work? How can we start using it today? And most importantly, is it really possible that we could make all the money that we need for a happy retirement? And that's precisely why I put together this presentation. Now, over the next few minutes, you're going to get all the details. I'll break down my playbook for you. I'll show you my track record, and I'll even discuss the best stocks to get started with, including some names and ticker symbols. Now, the only catch is that we don't have much time. A few months from now, a critical AI announcement is set to come out of Silicon Valley, a series of them, actually. And when that happens, I expect the second wave to begin in earnest. Now, I'll explain exactly what's going on in a minute, but as long as we get in before then, we could potentially see some of the biggest gains of our lives. Now, again, I know that's a big claim, and I don't make it lightly. I make it as someone who's had a front row seat to the AI revolution for over 30 years now. Like I said, my name is Jeff Brown, and I've been working in and around Silicon Valley since the 90s. And I've been an angel investor in tech companies for more than 20 years. That includes serving as an executive at blue chip high-tech firms like Qualcomm, NXP Semiconductors, and Juniper Networks. And today, Qualcomm and NXP Semiconductors are now well-known semiconductor plays supporting the AI boom, and Juniper Networks is a critical player providing networking infrastructure for AI data centers. And I was there in the early days as machine learning and artificial intelligence was just emerging. I also spent 2 decades living in Tokyo, Japan, and working throughout Asia. Now, working in such a high-tech hotbed, not only did I get to see how technology was designed and developed, I got to see how it was built, how it was manufactured, and used by companies and consumers oftentimes years in advance. I was in the field, boots on the ground, and often in the factories where it was all happening. And when it comes to a technology as groundbreaking as artificial intelligence, this is a big advantage. Natural language processing, generative pre-trained transformers, large language models. To understand it, we practically have to learn another language. Now, most of the talking heads on TV, they jumped into the AI game just in the last 12 months. To grasp this technology's full potential and see where it's headed, we need a higher level of expertise. And fortunately, that's where I do have an edge. And that edge has allowed me to stay 2 steps ahead of the AI market for years. For example, I invested in a tiny AI startup called Apprente in 2017. It was on the bleeding edge for developing natural language processing for the purpose of interacting with customers in retail or fast food settings. 2 years later, Apprente was acquired by McDonald's. I netted almost 10 times my money. I also literally wrote the first check to a startup in Silicon Valley, Eloquent Labs, in early 2016. It was pioneering how AI could be used in customer service. Around 3 years later, tech giant Square snapped up Eloquent, doubling my money. I also invested in NXP Semiconductors while I worked there, making 839%. Now, not every one of my investments has been a winner, but I'll just say that my family will never have to worry about money again. But about 10 years ago, I decided to start sharing my research, my analysis, and experience with regular investors. I never liked the fact that the very best ideas and the best investments tended to be controlled by venture capital and private equity firms. Normal investors often have to settle for the scraps. I'm so glad I did. 3 different times, I recommended the top stock of the year. Out of all 500 of the S&P 500 traded companies, I picked the number 1 stock 3 years. Now, most people go their whole lives without ever finding a bigger winner like that. I'm proud to say that I helped my readers do it multiple times, with these stocks delivering gains up to 1,533% for those who got in on my original recommendation and held on to their position. But nothing compares to my NVIDIA recommendation. At an investor event on February 6th, 2016, I recommended it. And this was for a split-adjusted price of just 62 cents. Now, obviously, NVIDIA was not a household name back then. Most experts thought it was a niche gaming company. Nobody had the first clue that it was connected to artificial intelligence. In fact, one of my colleagues, a longtime tech skeptic, poked fun at me about my recommendation. But I'd seen the technology up close. I could tell NVIDIA was going to be huge. First, it hit 1,000%, then 5,000%, then 10,000%, all the way up to as high as 20,469%. Let me put that in perspective for you. Facebook, in its entire history as a public company, has gone up 1,244%. Google, in its entire publicly traded history, has gone up 7,316%. NVIDIA soared up to 16 times higher in a fraction of the time. Now, interestingly, when people talk about investing in AI today, they still talk about NVIDIA. And don't get me wrong, it is a great investment. And if you don't own any shares, I would strongly recommend you buy some. I think it's going to be a $5 trillion company in the near future. But if you're looking for much bigger gains, my playbook says you'll want to look for the next NVIDIAs, the smaller, lesser known stocks that are like getting into NVIDIA years ago. Now, as this next wave gets underway, these are the plays with the most potential. How do I know? Well, because I've seen it happen before, multiple times. During the 90s, during the 2000s, during the 2010s, every tech boom that I've seen has followed the same two-wave pattern. And each time, the second wave delivered the biggest gains of all. Now, the same thing is happening with AI. As I've identified the stocks that I believe are positioned to soar the highest, and as you'll see, they're directly connected to the AI boom. The entire AI market depends on their patented technology. Yet, they're much less known than the big AI plays. In some cases, I guess 1 in 100 investors has ever heard of them, let alone invested in them. Now, I'll tell you the details about them in just a moment, but before I do, let me show you how this two-wave playbook works. Here's what happens. During every boom, there's a first wave of gains, and it's usually centered around one market leader, the stock most connected to the breakthrough. And of course, in the case of AI, it's NVIDIA. By getting in early, like I recommended, you can see massive gains. But then there is a second wave, and it's centered around smaller, lesser-known stocks. These stocks piggyback the market leader, and because of their smaller size, they're often able to deliver even bigger gains. Now, let me show you what I mean using the smartphone boom as an example. So let's jump back to June 29th, 2007. Now, this is when the first iPhone hit the market. Prior to this, smartphones were clunky, but with its user-friendly touchscreen and sleek design, the iPhone was an instant hit. It sent Apple's share price soaring. Today, it's up as much as 6,136%. But here's the thing. This was just the start. After the iPhone launch, companies like Broadcom emerged. Broadcom supplied a wide range of key smartphone components, things like sensors and wireless chargers, Bluetooth technology, etc. And the smartphone boom took off. Broadcom took off too, even more than Apple. Its share price soared as high as 15,703%, and it's not the only one. Infineon, another smaller supplier, emerged alongside Broadcom. It soared 11,027%, and other small plays soared as high as 9,501%. These companies emerged a few years after the iPhone, and each one delivered bigger gains than Apple. In other words, the second wave was even bigger than the first. Those who missed out on Apple not only survived, they thrived. By riding that second wave, they had the chance at truly rare and exceptional gains. Now, obviously, I can't promise the same exact gains, but isn't that amazing? Now, if this were a one-off, I wouldn't be here today. I'd call it an anomaly and move on, but this is a phenomenon I've seen all the time. In politics, they call it the coattails effect. It happens whenever there's a popular presidential candidate. Not only does he win big, but a whole slew of down-ballot candidates ride his coattails to big victories too. The same thing happens in financial markets. For those that follow the crypto world, we've seen it happen every few years. During every crypto bull run, Bitcoin takes off. But then, shortly after, small plays connected to Bitcoin soar even higher. Now, this happened during Bitcoin's run-ups in 2022, in 2020, and when I first told my readers about Bitcoin in 2015. Now, most people had never heard of it, but I said it was on the verge of breakthrough profits. Sure enough, it took off. In the boom that followed, it soared as high as 7,390%. However, shortly after that, the second wave began. Companies like Coinbase emerged, providing a wide range of crypto services. I invested personally in Coinbase when it was a private company and watched it soar as high as 74.7 times. And of course, other smaller crypto plays soared even higher, unbelievable amounts like 100,000%, 200,000%, and more. In other words, missing out on the first wave of Bitcoin gains, it wasn't the end of the world. In fact, it didn't even matter. The second wave was where the big action took place. Are we seeing this 1-2 pattern here? Can we understand why we're not too late with AI? Yes, we've already seen massive gains, and yes, the biggest gains from NVIDIA are definitely in the rearview mirror, but that's okay. That was just the first wave. A second, much bigger wave is coming, and here's the best part. AI is setting up to have one of the biggest second waves we've ever seen. To give you an idea, just listen to what Sam Altman is doing. Altman is the CEO of the multi-billion-dollar private company OpenAI. Now, he's been speaking with potential investors to raise somewhere between $5 and $7 trillion explicitly for the manufacturing of AI-specific semiconductors. You heard me right. That's $5 to $7 trillion. Just to put that in perspective, this year, sales for semiconductor manufacturing equipment are projected to hit $100 billion. He's looking to pour in 50 to 70 times more. That's what he believes is necessary to fuel this explosion in artificial intelligence. You can see why CNBC says there will likely be a bunch of trillion-dollar companies from AI. They're not talking about NVIDIA and Microsoft. They're talking about the smaller players that are set to profit from all this growth. You see, AI is not some niche opportunity. It's not going to be a minor part of our lives like it is today. As the IMF says, AI will transform the global economy. Now, I am not a big fan of elite organizations like the IMF, but even they realize the growth of the potential here. AI is going to disrupt everything, and if history is any guide, the second wave companies could end up being some of the biggest winners ever. I am not exaggerating. This is exactly what happened during the dot-com boom. We might forget the first wave stock of that boom was AOL. It was like the NVIDIA of its day. As CNBC says, it dominated the internet of the 90s, reaching a market cap north of $200 billion. Now, we know what happened next. AOL faded into obscurity, and Microsoft, Amazon, Google's, and others went to the moon. All second wave companies, all dominating to this day. Now, we've even seen this 1-2 pattern play out with non-tech booms as well, like gold. For example, gold's last big run was from 2001 until 2011. The price soared from $400 to $2,000, a 400% move. But again, that was just the first wave. As the boom unfolded, tiny gold plays emerged, miners, explorers, royalty plays. Eldorado Gold went up 8,406%. Seabridge Gold went up 9,373%, and others went up even more. Now, it should be easy for us to see now. By getting in on the smaller second wave plays, it's almost like having 10-to-1 leverage over the first wave. That's how big the growth potential is. Now, it makes sense when we think about it. A big breakthrough like AI, it creates an entirely new market. All sorts of new, exciting companies emerge. Suppliers, service providers, competitors. It takes little time for these companies to develop and pick up speed. Anywhere from a few months to a few years, but once they do, they give us the chance to compound our gains for years. And that's why I am so excited about where we are with AI now. So far, the market leaders, NVIDIA, OpenAI, Microsoft, they've seen the lion's share of the gains. And that's to be expected. That's what happens during the first wave. But now, as the second wave gets underway, we're starting to see other companies follow their lead. For example, one smaller AI pick I recommended to readers has soared as much as 71% over the past few months. Another one has more than doubled, and this is just the start. Remember, this could be one of the biggest second waves ever. AI is set to disrupt all these trillion-dollar industries. In fact, it's already starting to. Take healthcare. This is a massive $8.5 trillion industry that I follow closely. Already, experts say AI is causing a revolution. Take Paul, an 82-year-old patient with an aggressive type of blood cancer. After 6 rounds of chemotherapy, the cancer remained. Doctors couldn't find the right treatment for his condition. Hope was all but lost. In desperation, Paul agreed to let doctors use AI to help pick the right medicine. And it worked. 2 years later, Paul's cancer is in full remission. And it's thanks to stories like this, big money is flooding into healthcare. Hundreds of biotech startups are exploring how AI could transform their businesses. So are big players like Johnson & Johnson, Abbott Labs, Merck, GlaxoSmithKline, and dozens more. And you know what? Why wouldn't they? According to research firm McKinsey, with AI, we'll be able to find drugs in 1/10 the time. Processes that used to take months will be done in days, and that means more life-saving drugs hitting the market for all types of deadly diseases. Heart disease, breast cancer, skin disease, blindness, lung cancer, and many, many more. Just think about heart disease alone. It's the leading cause of death in America, killing around 700,000 people annually. AI can spot it early with 93% accuracy. By comparison, a mammogram is only 85% accurate. Yes, AI is better at detecting heart disease than a mammogram is at breast cancer. Now, obviously, this is going to be fantastic on a human level, but it could be just as fantastic for investors. Already, drug companies are some of the best performers on the market. Eli Lilly's drug pipeline has helped it average 243% a year for the past 15 years. And Bristol Myers Squibb, another drug maker, is one of the best performing stocks of all time. Over its lifetime, it has returned 3.5 million%. Now, once they start using AI on a big scale, the sky is the limit. And it's not just drug makers. The American College of Surgeons expects AI to revolutionize surgery. Now, the last time this happened was around 25 years ago. That's when Intuitive Surgical's Da Vinci robot system hit the market, allowing doctors to use robotic arms during surgery. And this sent Intuitive Surgical's share price soaring 21,575%. And it's still growing to this day. Now we're looking at a whole new surgery revolution, and it's all thanks to AI. But here is where it gets even more amazing. Healthcare isn't even the biggest industry set to be disrupted. Look at the $35 trillion manufacturing industry. According to experts, AI could help restore America to its manufacturing powerhouse status. You see, the mainstream narrative is that AI is going to put millions of hardworking Americans out of work. The reality is the opposite. AI is projected to deliver a net gain of millions of jobs. Going forward, it's going to be humans working with collaborative robots or cobots all across America. These new AI-based machines will have eyes, and they'll be equipped with high-powered cameras and sensors, and humans will train them on what to look for. On assembly lines, they're already able to spot defects invisible to human eyes. And listen to what's happening with airline manufacturing. As someone who studied aeronautical and astronautical engineering at Purdue, I know this sector well. AI is now being used to help design airplanes. And in the past, this was a slow, painstaking process. Now, if you don't get the design just right, obviously the plane will crash. Enter AI. It can provide instant design feedback. What used to take an hour now takes 0.03 seconds. And as a result, engineers are able to explore 10,000 more design options than they could in the past. Plus, AI will soon be able to spot upcoming supply shortages before they happen, identify equipment failure ahead of time, and much, much more. Research outfit McKinsey expects these types of innovations to provide $3.7 trillion in value by next year. Now, when I hear numbers like $3.7 trillion, I get excited, and I hope you do too, especially when we consider that my picks could be perfectly positioned for all this AI growth. Now, those aren't my words. That's according to the Senior Managing Director at Radiant Global Advisors. When speaking about one of my picks, he said, all roads lead to it. And yet, most everyday investors, they have never heard of it. Now, this is an enviable position to be in. Think about similar companies during the internet's second wave, like Intel or Cisco, Oracle, Intuit. Some of these companies are still delivering gains to this day. That's what happens when you're in an all roads company. Gains can come in from all sorts of different industries. For example, during the second AI wave, the auto industry alone could trigger some huge gains. This is another sector I know well. I recommended Tesla, the leading AI car company, way back in 2018. And last year, I even leased my own Tesla with Tesla's full self-driving artificial intelligence package, just so I could test and experience its self-driving AI technology firsthand every week with each software release. And as I told my readers back in 2018, Tesla is an AI company. It is not a traditional car company. People think its self-driving feature is just to provide a better driving experience. But the real reason was to give Tesla's AI unparalleled real-world training. Elon admitted as much on a recent earnings call. He said Tesla should now be thought of as an artificial intelligence and robotics company. I have my Tesla drive me around every single week. I don't touch the steering wheel. It's incredible. It accelerates, it brakes, it takes turns smoothly, and it navigates complex situations with no interference from me. And every few weeks, Tesla releases a new software update, and the AI performs noticeably better. I really don't have to touch the wheel anymore. And the AI monitors my eyes just to make sure that I'm paying attention to the road. It is a phenomenal experience, and it is the future of driving. Is it any wonder Tesla has soared as much as 1,600% since I first recommended it? And Tesla's self-driving revolution is just getting started. Tesla is on the cusp of achieving level 5 self-driving status, the level required for regulatory approval. And according to Tesla, its AI needs about 6 billion miles of full self-driving to reach that level. Now, by my calculations, it's set to hit that milestone by early next year. This is a huge AI breakthrough. Full autonomy based on vision alone is a proprietary secret to Tesla, arguably worth more than $1 trillion. I would even argue that Tesla's autonomous software, its AI, is likely the single most valuable invention in history. Think of all the applications. Tesla's AI could be used in semi-trailers, Optimus, its bipedal humanoid robot, drones, delivery robots, eVTOLs, which are electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft, home robotic assistants, and so many more things. For any kind of robotics device that needs to navigate the real world, the possibilities are vast, and starting today, you can get in on the ground floor. One of my picks is an auto industry pure play. It's perfectly positioned to profit from this growth. I hope we can all see the vision of just how big this second wave of AI could be. Despite what we're hearing in the news, the AI revolution, it's not peaking. It's not even close. Obviously, the AI boom won't move in a straight line. There will be pullbacks along the way, and of course, that's inevitable. But this is not the time to sell all of our AI stocks and just move on. That would be like sitting down for a 7-course meal and leaving after the appetizer. We'd miss out on the best part. Even today, AI is only a $184 billion industry. That's nothing. AI pioneers believe there's $100 trillion just waiting to be unlocked. Now, even if we cut that estimate in half, it means AI has only reached about 0.3% of its potential. Most people are still wrapping their head around ChatGPT, but it's quickly becoming a top priority across corporate America. Now, as long as we act now, we can get in early on that second wave. And as an investor, this is a dream scenario. It's the chance to compound our wealth steadily and consistently for years from an unstoppable trend. A trend that comes along once every couple of decades. I mean, imagine if we could go back in time to the smartphone revolution. Imagine knowing months in advance that everybody was about to start carrying around an iPhone. One of the investments connected to this trend skyrocketed as high as 15,703%. Or imagine if we could go back to the mid-90s and get in on the tech boom right before it started disrupting everything. The second wave helped Intel soar 4,000%, Oracle 7,500%, Cisco 41,000%, and many, many more. Now, obviously, I'm not saying that we're going to see these exact gains, but you get the idea. That's why I say that my AI playbook could help us make all the money that we need for a happy retirement. Like I said, I've seen it firsthand multiple times. You see, I was fortunate. Even as a young investor, I could tell that their retirement model didn't work. So far this century, the S&P 500 has returned just 7% a year on average. That's it. So at this rate, it would take you 32 years to turn $100,000 into $1 million retirement. And if we account for inflation, well, it's about 49 years. Yes, almost half a century to create $1 million nest egg. No wonder 4 out of 5 people think we're headed for a retirement crisis. Now, the good news is this doesn't have to be you. Forget about waiting 50 years. We have an escape. By allocating a small portion of your portfolio to AI, it could end up being an entire nest egg in a fraction of the time. And there's only one catch. Events are unfolding quickly. As we speak, the biggest players in the world are doing everything in their power to kick off this second wave in earnest. OpenAI, for example, is about to launch a new product, and rumors are swirling that it's going to be big. Altman himself has hinted that it will be much bigger than a simple update to ChatGPT. He's calling it a significant leap forward. Now, keep in mind, this is exactly what kicked off the first AI wave. In November of 2022, OpenAI announced the launch of ChatGPT. And almost immediately, NVIDIA went to the moon. Big AI plays added as much as $5 trillion to their market caps, making investors rich. Now the company is set to make a much bigger announcement. What's more, Tesla has big plans of its own. Remember how, according to my research, Tesla's AI could be on the cusp of getting regulatory approval for full self-driving? And remember how I said Tesla's AI could go down as the most valuable invention in history? That's because the AI can drive in all different scenarios without human intervention is a leap forward. It sets the stage for artificial general intelligence. AGI, as it's called, is considered the holy grail of AI. It's the big AI breakthrough that everyone is racing to achieve. And pretty soon, it won't just be a dream. It will be a reality. In other words, between OpenAI and Tesla, we could have two huge upcoming announcements in the coming months. And these are just the most urgent events. Everybody from Microsoft, Facebook, Google are all betting the farm on new AI breakthroughs. There are dozens of outfits in 37 countries, all trying to hit it big. The bottom line is, if you missed out on the first wave, please don't worry. We're just getting started. All signs suggest this second AI wave is going to be even bigger. And I've identified the stocks that could be positioned to ride this wave all the way to the top. What makes them so special? Well, they're all near monopolies. Now, I don't mean to suggest anything illegal. They just dominate their respective markets. And as an investor, this is as good as it gets. Just ask John D. Rockefeller. His monopoly with Standard Oil is the reason that he became the richest American in history. And it's the reason Microsoft is up 415,000% since its IPO. Now, the stocks I've found all have a hold on a corner of the AI boom. For example, my first pick owns a critical chip manufacturing machine. And without this machine, the AI boom would not be able to continue as is. It's the only machine that chip makers can use to build the high-end chips that NVIDIA and other AI big players depend on. In other words, this company is 100% essential to the AI boom. And as the AI market grows, which is as close to a guarantee as you'll ever find, this company's patented technology will only become more valuable. And yet, I'd bet less than 1 in 100 investors have ever heard of it. Now, if we search for its name on Google, we get about 1% the hits as NVIDIA. So by acting now, we can get in on it while few know about it. My second pick is in a similar position. It's a chip maker. It builds chips for the key AI players like NVIDIA, AMD, Intel, even corporations like Google, Apple, Amazon, and Tesla, and more. Now, all told, it has a near 90% monopoly on the entire high-end chip market. And that means it doesn't matter who the winner of AI is. Wherever the growth comes from, this company is positioned to profit. And keep in mind, Qualcomm had the same type of advantage during the tech boom. Its CDMA chipsets were used in around 90% of cell phones. Now, during the second half of that boom, its share price rose as high as 6,009%. Now, obviously, the past doesn't equal the future, but my new pick has a similar advantage in a much bigger industry. History says you should get some money into it as soon as possible. It's the same story with my other two picks. Each has a stranglehold on a corner of the market, and each is perfectly positioned to ride the second wave all the way to the top. And right now, we have the chance to get in on all of them at the beginning of this wave. Now, there's a lot more to say about these stocks, but rather than try to explain everything here, I've put all the details in a brand new special report. It's called the AI Retirement Playbook, and it will tell you everything you need to know about my top picks. Their names, their ticker symbols, their strangleholds on the market, their growth potential, all of the important details. I had hundreds of AI-related stocks to choose from, but the reality is there are lots of AI hype stocks out there, companies that might soar for a year only to come right back down to earth. And I have a specific criteria that I've honed over the years. 99% of companies, they just don't make the cut. I chose these ones because they're the true wealth builders, the types of plays that could deliver double and triple digit returns for years and even decades. When you own them, your portfolio is built for the long haul. You'll get all the details in the report. Plus, in the report, I'll also lay out a roadmap of what to expect from the AI boom going forward. Like I said, I've invested in all the tech booms going back to the 90s. Each one has followed a familiar pattern. And if you know which sector is set to take off next, you can position yourself accordingly. You'll get a sneak peek of what to expect in the report. In short, you'll have everything that you need to take full advantage of this second AI wave. Plus, I've also prepared a companion report that could be just as valuable. It's called Jeff's Top AI Stocks to Avoid. You see, with every disruptive technology, there are winners and losers. The rise of Netflix was the downfall of Blockbuster. So far, I've only talked about the winners, but there are several stocks with the potential for epic collapses. And I'm not talking about obscure no-name companies. These are popular companies owned by millions of people. And if you own any funds or ETFs, it's likely that you own shares too. These stocks are dangerous, and I strongly advise you to avoid them. One of them is a tech darling, and I guarantee you've heard of it. It's a household name and has received a lot of popular press this year. Now, consider yourself warned. This stock could be the next Eastman Kodak. You see, it claims to be a cutting-edge AI company, and to be sure, at one point, it kind of was. On its website, page after page is dedicated to AI, but please don't be fooled. This company's revenue is flat, its patent portfolio has dropped, and it is falling woefully behind the curve. I believe it will completely miss out on the AI boom, and it's not the only one. I've identified others, all popular, all equally dangerous, and you'll get their names, ticker symbols, and a full write-up in my bonus report. Now, between these two reports, I believe you could make and save a tremendous amount of money. But I'm not done yet. I prepared something else for you, something I think you'll really like. You see, I was fortunate to get involved in technology when I did. I witnessed Silicon Valley grow from a niche market to a global powerhouse. And along the way, I've been able to invest in all of the best technology companies. I've invested in hundreds of early stage startups, and several have hit unicorn status, meaning they became worth more than $1 billion. And at the rate they're on, we could be talking about generational wealth someday. Now, unfortunately, others haven't been so fortunate. They've missed out on these megatrends. They're seeing others get rich, and they're wondering, did I miss my chance? And am I forced to settle for scraps? Well, the answer is no. You are not forced to settle. You can get in early on the biggest breakthroughs, and I do want to help you. To that end, I've launched a research service called the Near Future Report. And I'd like to invite you to join me. As I mentioned, AI has created all sorts of massive investment opportunities. And yet today, I have just only scratched the surface with you. For example, robotics is set to go parabolic. Elon Musk is already testing Optimus humanoid robots in his factories and offices this year and plans to roll them out to external customers in early 2026. Musk decided to keep all the initial production of those robots in-house at Tesla. That's how valuable they are. It's a competitive advantage. Already, Tesla's robot, Optimus, has its own brain, and it's based on the same neural network technology that Tesla's self-driving vehicles use. These robots can perceive the world around them, and they can remember their environment. They can act autonomously in split seconds, and they have the dexterity to handle an egg without cracking it. Industry experts believe we could see millions, even billions of humanoid robots in many different areas of life. I first started telling my readers about this years ago, and it's about to reach a tipping point, and it's something that we'll definitely want to be in front of. Biotech and genetic editing are also on the cusp of huge breakthroughs, and this is another area I've been researching and writing about for the last decade. The day the first genetic editing company IPO'd back in 2016, I recommended it. My readers have the chance to quadruple their money, but we're just getting started. For example, one company I follow used AI to digitally evaluate 2.8 quadrillion molecule target pairs and predict protein targets for approximately 36 billion chemical compounds, all in just 1 week. How's that for a week's work? Using traditional methods, this process would have taken more than 100,000 years. Google's AI chief executive thinks we could be at the beginning of a golden era of scientific discovery, and I definitely agree. These are just a few of the exciting AI breakthroughs coming right down the pike, and they're all going to create entire investing ecosystems. The companies that emerge could be huge winners, and I want to help you get in on them. And that's why I've launched the Near Future Report. Every month, I share the latest technological breakthroughs, and obviously right now AI is a big focus, but I am always looking around the corner at what's coming next. It's how I've been able to predict the AI trend, genetic editing, blockchain technology, wireless technology adoption, autonomous driving, and more. Every month, I take you into the near future and reveal how to take advantage of it before the crowd. So far, the approach has worked well. I've led my readers to the number one stock in the entire S&P 500 3 different times. The odds of hitting 1 out of 500 once are just 0.2%, but 3 times, almost impossible. Yet, that's exactly what my readers have had the chance to do. In another year, I picked the number one tech stock in the S&P 500. It was number 3 overall. From those picks alone, you could have made more than 10 times your money had you held on to those recommendations. Now, of course, not every pick is a winner. All investments carry risk, and past performance does not guarantee future success. But across my services, I've delivered 27 triple-digit winners. Now, don't worry if you're not a techie. One of my specialties is explaining complex topics in simple ways. I've sat on more than 100 expert panels, and I've given hundreds of presentations, and I've helped all types of people get started in the market. One reader, Phil, describes himself as a 78-year-old non-techie. But thanks to my work, he says he's now able to amaze his friends with knowledge far and beyond their ken. Another reader, John in Hawaii, told me I've given him the education of a lifetime on cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology. And Steve S. told me, good stuff, Jeff. It's hard to get good information about the tech space unless you're an insider. I wouldn't know anything about where technology was headed without your input. It's so gratifying. People come up to me in airports and restaurants, on the street, and all the time at conferences. I'm thrilled that my work is having a positive impact on people's lives. But what's even more thrilling is the opportunity in front of us today. As a Near Future Report member, you'll be prepared to take full advantage of it. And best of all, I've prepared a special deal for you. You see, the retail price for the Near Future Report is $499 per year. That's because the ideas that I provide are not the kind that you'll find on a free website or a blog. I spend tens of thousands of dollars every month on research, on travel, and employing top-notch research analysts so that I can provide in-depth premium research. And I've spent years acquiring the best technical training in the world, both professionally and academically. I graduated from Purdue University with my Bachelor's of Science in Aeronautical and Astronautical Engineering, and I received a Master's of Science in Management with a major in corporate finance from the London Business School. I was a Sloan Fellow, which is a special designation that only 3 schools in the world offer, MIT and Stanford being the other 2. I'm also an alumnus of Yale School of Management, and additionally, I've even studied at and have received professional certificates from MIT, Stanford, and UC Berkeley School of Law. Now, I definitely don't tell you this to brag. I just want you to know that I take great pride in my work, and I am constantly working hard to improve my own skills, my own network, and my knowledge base. I've attended private invitation-only gatherings with wealthy investors. I regularly attend large and small tech conferences, and I'm connected literally with hundreds of CEOs, of angel investors, venture capitalists, Washington insiders, and even billionaires. In other words, the value that you get is worth a lot more than $499 a year. However, because you're probably new to my work and because of how urgent the opportunity is today, I'm making an exception. I'm temporarily lowering the price all the way down to $199. That's more than a 50% discount off the retail price. Plus, you get my 2 special reports valued at $297. They're included for no additional cost. But this is the lowest price that I'm able to give, and it's only available for a limited time. To get started, please just click the link on your screen and you'll be taken to a completely secure enrollment form. You can place your order there. It's simple and it's safe, and it only takes a couple minutes. Here's a quick recap of everything that you'll get when you join. Special report, the AI Retirement Playbook. You'll get the names and tickers of all my top AI picks along with my full analysis. And you'll also get a complete breakdown of where we are in the AI boom, details on my investment strategy, and more. Bonus report number 1, Jeff's top AI stocks to avoid. This report features some of the biggest have-nots on the market. They're owned by millions of people and could set your retirement back years. Related to this, you'll also get bonus report number 2, Jeff's Guide to Risk Management. Now, some of my best calls have actually been warning about upcoming danger in the markets, just like my coronavirus prediction at the start of 2020. I actually lived through the 2003 SARS pandemic in Hong Kong. I was literally there on the streets, and I even got sick. That outbreak emptied streets and created widespread panic. So when I heard that a much more contagious virus was spreading, I sounded the alarm. On January 6th, 2020, 45 days before the coronavirus crash, I warned that a big pullback was coming. And then during the depths of the crash, I told people to get back in. Anybody who listened had the chance to ride the bull market that followed. Now, in this guide, I share the risk management secrets that I've learned from 30 years of tech investing, including how to spot danger signs early, how to use volatility-adjusted stop losses to maximize gains and minimize losses, why you should never risk more money than you can afford to lose, and how to grow your entire nest egg through small, targeted investments, and much, much more. It's yours for no additional cost. 12 months of the near future report, and as a new subscriber, you'll receive my latest recommendations immediately. They're ready to go. As soon as you join, they'll be sent to your inbox. Then around the first Monday of every month, you'll receive my next opportunity. Now, please keep in mind the tech markets move fast. Things don't always happen according to a schedule, so the recommendations may not always come on the scheduled day. They may come a day or two before or after, but either way, each pick is designed to help you double your money or more. Plus, you'll get frequent updates. Now, I provide these as needed, typically once or twice a month. And if anything happens with one of the stocks in our model portfolio, you'll be among the very first to know. And last but not least, you'll also get my 60-day ironclad guarantee. Now, I know that cutting-edge tech may be new to you, and to that end, my team and I are giving you time to test things out. Take the next few months to analyze my work, look over the recommendations, and read my special reports. And if at any point during that time you're not impressed with my work, please just call my membership services team. They'll give you a full money-back refund, and you'll even get to keep all of the special reports. It's my way of thanking you for giving my research a try. Now, of course, I don't think it'll come to that. If your experience is similar to other members, you'll be thrilled with your decision. Jim P. says, I started with Jeff's service from the beginning. I've invested in several, but he is exponentially better than the rest, light years ahead. It's not too late to join his service, and I recommend everyone do so. I've stopped wasting my money on others. And Ruan B says, I've been a loyal subscriber for some time now and greatly admire and appreciate the work that you do to bring us readers such quality recommendations. Your newsletters are well worth their weight in gold. Now, just remember, you have very little time to access this wealth of resources. This deal is only available for a very limited time. As we speak, the second wave is starting to get underway. All the big players, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Facebook, NVIDIA, are all spending tens of billions of dollars on AI every year. Sam Altman is preparing to pour in trillions over the next several years. And right now, the world's most successful investors are positioning their portfolios. Now, you only have a little time left to get in before this boom could go parabolic. So please just click the button on your screen to get started. You'll be taken to a secure order form, and within minutes, you'll have my first recommendations in your inbox. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to hearing from you soon.